Welcome back to Open Window Politics. Today we're going to be going through some of the latest polls from the 2024 presidential election. So we will get started off with the ones at the top here. So we have this congressional approval rating is sitting at about 13%. It's normally pretty terrible, so that sounds about right. And then on the presidential level for Biden's approval rating, he is still not doing great, but still having around the low 40s, high 30s, which is not a great sign, especially going into an election year. It's, well, we're already in the election year. It's not looking good for the Biden campaign in terms of his approval ratings. And we see in this poll he gets down to 35%. So not a lot of positive news there for the Biden campaign, but we'll have to see if that ends up changing. Then we will get to some polls here. So they polled a bunch of different Democratic candidates against Trump in the off chance that Democrats don't end up nominating Biden for the campaign for the 2024 presidential election. Most likely will, but in a world where that's not the case, they asked a bunch of, well, they polled a bunch of groups, compared various Democratic candidates to Trump, and looks like the only one, well, Biden was able to tie Trump in one of them, and Michelle Obama was able to win by 11, which is very impressive. But I don't see a case where she would end up running. I think she'd be a good pick for the Democrats, but probably not this election cycle. And the other candidates all lost to Trump by 1, 2, 4, even 6 points. So not a good sign. It's looking like regardless of who the Democrats nominate, it's probably going to end up being a Trump victory if the election were to be held today. Biden probably isn't the strongest choice, as the polling here indicates, but he does have some name recognition being president at all, so that can help for sure, but may not be enough after his poor debate performance to be able to beat Trump in the polls. Then we have just a generic ballot polling. This shows Republicans and Democrats tied at 44%. Then we have Trump's favorability ratings. This is from June 30th to July 2nd. So he is sitting at close to the low to mid 40s, which is definitely a little better than the Biden campaign by a couple points, which is good for the Trump campaign. And then we get to some other polls here. This is Harris against Trump, lost by 2. Then Biden and Biden again, lost by 2 and then lost by 4. So things are not looking great for the Biden campaign in the latest polls. Let's go and check out the national presidential polls. So this is just kind of a poll aggregator, and right now it has Trump up by 2.1. That is, I believe, one of the highest points. Let's see, was that 2.1 there? 2.2, but pretty close to one of the highest points that the Trump campaign has seen. So things are looking good for the Trump campaign. He's been at 2.1 points above Biden's averages. As you can see, here's the polls we just saw. But anyhow, so he is doing pretty great for the Trump campaign. And let's go check out the Trump favorability ratings. So Trump, also he has an approval rating, I believe, below 50. He's sitting at about 42%. Compared to, let's check out Joe Biden again, so 42% compared to about 37%, so things are about 5 points better for the Trump campaign if the election were to be held today, and but definitely some time for things to change. We'll have to see what happens on election day, but those have been some of the latest polls that give us an indication of who is going to do better come election night and the days following, and who will end up being the next president. And then we get to the do voters want Republicans or Democrats in Congress? Democrats are actually narrowly up in this one by 0.3, which is kind of interesting. We saw the latest polls. Our Democrats are looking fairly good. They're up by 1 or 2 points, so I could definitely see a world where the House ends up going back to Democrats' control. It would be by a very narrow margin, but I do think it's possible. And in the Senate, I think the Senate is definitely going to go to the Republicans, and the presidential, it's looking good for the Trump campaign, so I would probably, if the election were to be held today, I would guess that it would result in a Trump victory. But there are certainly lots of things that could change before the election in November. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions about anything I discussed today, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.